Welcome to Freganomics Part 4, Token Values. In this video, we will introduce the new Web 3.0 and blockchain currency of tokens, and what makes them valuable. We will also demonstrate how a predictable growth in token values is achieved, and in the next section, how it is both possible and sustainable for individuals, social enterprises and companies to effectively double the value of their money through the distribution of tokens issued via Invest Plus and Purchase Plus. So what exactly are tokens? Tokens are the new money of the information age. You will have heard of Bitcoin and other digital currencies, and many of these are referred to as crypto tokens. Their main advantage is that unlike regular money, they can have information and agreements attached to them, and these are referred to as smart contracts. Cryptographic tokens are often referred to as cryptos, and they can also be split into tiny parts referred to as nanos and pictos. Recently, there have been a lot of digital technologies launched with their own cryptocurrency, or crypto token. People enthusiastic about these projects have invested money and received tokens in exchange, in the hope that that project will succeed and that the tokens they hold will rise in value. But despite their ingenuity, there has been one major problem, and that has led to wild swings in token values and many outright collapses. And that problem, quite simply, is that there has been nothing underpinning or supporting the value of these tokens. And this is where tokens issued on the Frega platform are entirely different. Frega has taken the flexibility and ingenuity of crypto tokens and combined it with the certainty of its passive income generating ecosystem to create the world's first fully underpinned suite of crypto tokens that are not only a stable investment but are programmatically set to grow. From here on, when discussing tokens, we are only referring to tokens on the Frega platform, because these rules do not apply outside the Frega ecosystem. Tokens outside Frega have no underpin, and their value is entirely notional. So what exactly gives tokens on the Frega platform their value? And how are these values set to increase? To explain token values within Frega, we will use the analogy of rental property. Everyone knows that rental property is a good investment, but why do people invest in it? They choose property because of the rental income. In fact, without the rent, your property quickly changes from an asset that pays you every month to a liability that costs you in terms of upkeep, taxes, and mortgage repayments every month. So the property is only an asset if there is certainty that a known amount of rent is coming in, and this rental income underpins the property's value. In other words, it is the rental income that makes the property valuable to the property investor in the first place. The next question then is what drives the property value up? And the answer to this is increases in rent. If you think of two identical properties, one in the middle of nowhere and the other in central London, the property in London may be worth 10 times more, even though it is exactly the same structure. Why? Purely because of the higher achievable rent. Anyone buying the London property will know with a high degree of certainty what the rental income is, and that this income, which underpins the value of the property, will increase over time, making the property itself worth more. Quite simply, the higher the rental yield each month, the greater the value of the property. Now, if we translate these observations to tokens on the Frega platform, we can more easily see how the formula works. In investments, there is something called a dividend. This is a share of profits that may be paid to shareholders just for owning a share of a company. Frega, on the other hand, pays a dividend, or share of profits, to the owners of tokens, also known as token holders. So every token on the Frega platform receives a dividend. Now, if we think of the token as a property and the dividend as a rental income, it becomes obvious that the higher the dividend, the greater the value of the token, because just like the property investor deciding the value of the property based on its rental income, the token holder will determine what he or she is willing to spend on the token based on its dividend yield. So if there were a way of programmatically ensuring a dividend payment, like a rental income, that always grows faster than the availability of tokens, like properties, this would result in an ever-increasing yield, which is like a constantly growing rental income. And as we already established, If the yield goes up, so does the value of the asset, whether it's a property or token. So this is exactly how Freganomics works. Because a proportion of the revenues paid into the ecosystem is programmatically allocated to paying dividends to the holders of every token ever released on the Frega platform. So now you can think of every token as a property released onto the market by Frega, with a guaranteed rental, which is the daily dividend underpinning the value. And since the revenue streams entering the ecosystem are steadily growing, so too is the pool of money available to underpin each token. What this means is that tokens receiving a penny in dividends one day might start receiving as much as 4 pennies just a short time later. This is like receiving 4 times the rental income for your property. Now the question is, would you sell your property and let go of the increasing rental income, or would you hang on to it, knowing that the rental is going up? And if you were to sell the property, would you expect to receive more for it than you originally paid? Of course you would. And this again is exactly the same with the tokens bought and sold on the Frega exchanges. As the daily dividend goes up, so does the value of the token, because everybody wants to own an asset that pays a growing daily return. It's as simple as that. So in this analogy, Frega's commitment is not to buy back all the properties or tokens released onto the market. That would defeat the object of redistributing the wealth. Its job instead is to pay all the rents or dividends, so that you and I can buy the properties with a guaranteed and growing rental income. And since the Frega algorithm is programmatically set to increase the pool of money available to pay dividends faster than it issues tokens, we as investors have a high degree of certainty that both dividend payments and token values will continue to rise. Now that we've understood the predictability of the underpinned token values, it is time to investigate the sustainability of Invest Plus and Purchase Plus in Part 5. Thank you.